What is a grave mistake you were in the verge of committing? Deleted. Almost married a guy that love bombed me. Thank God I listened to my gut feeling that something was not quite right. I paid for a background search on him and found out he had been married 9 times. Yes, 9 ducking times. To say I dodged a bullet is an understatement. Was his name Ross? Does he have strangely white teeth and drone on about dinosaurs? I have been wondering what he has been up to. He also tries to wear leather pants from time to time. Freaked out when someone ate his sandwich. I got stopped by my mom who found something in my room and grounded me seconds before I was about to go get my tongue pierced in the back of a van. She did not know about the van. Are you glad you didn't get your tongue pierced or that you didn't get into a van? Glad that they did not get kidnapped. One time, this piece of shit who I grew up with asked me to give him my dad's gun so that he could use it to get back at somebody who robbed him in a drug deal. I was ducking stupid, and he was older and manipulative, so I thought it was okay. He kept telling me to stop being a bitch, and that he didn't even need bullets. He just wanted to scare somebody. Went home, looked for my dad's pistol, and by the grace of God, I couldn't find it in its usual spot. He convinced my other friend, we can call him Steve, to take his dad's pistol when I could not find mine. This ducking idiot runs a stop sign while in possession of Stev's dad's pistol, and he gets pulled over. Cops find the gun. Stev's dad almost lost his government job, and I live with horrible regret that I almost sacrificed my freedom and my dad's job for the approval of some a-hole who wanted to use me. I'm not the best storyteller, so I apologize if this gave you a headache to read. Whoa, I'm glad you have dodged that situation, and your storytelling is pretty good, but it could use a little space between the text. I was about to quit my job at the end of March 2020. Did not have anything else lined up, but had a letter written and everything. I was tired of the atmosphere of the workplace. My boss, going into the office for the same job every day, ended up going to full-time work from home 1 week before I was about to quit. Been that way ever since. Setting my own hours. Very little interference from my boss. Still a lot I do not like about the work, but I can see how it is a lot better than being jobless. Will you get to continue working from home after the pandemic is over or restrictions lift? Is the pandemic over anytime soon though? Even with vaccines rolling out, I'm not convinced we are good NG to be through it anytime soon. Depends where you are and what the job is. Some industries will be feeling the effects for years. Some will be fine in 6 months. Having a kid at a young age. That's also when I found out I had weak swimmers. I read that too quickly as you had a weak wiener. Too many W's. Sorry, or not enough M's. A year ago I almost fought with a girl. I was excited until she said I wish my boyfriend would treat me like you do. I don't regret it. Ugh, people are a-holes. I had a guy from my work kiss me on the weekend. There had been low-key flirting both ways for about a month. I stopped it at kissing cause I didn't wanna move fast. Workmate etc. And then he dropped the bomb that he actually had a GF and had been with her for a year. I was furious, especially as I had assumed he was single after another workmate told him it's okay, we will find you a GF, and he never corrected them that he already had one. So there's me thinking he was single, to find out that he wasn't, and was just trying to use me for some whatever. Fuming. The nerve of some people. I forgot to add that the girl who wanted to FWB was referring to me as a boy toy. Ugh, gross. At least you found out first. I almost broke up with my wife when we first started dating. I didn't, and it was a really great choice because we are still doing good 17 years later. I almost had a one-night stand with an ex. I backed out at the last moment because my gut was telling me something was off. Found out later that she was trying to get pregnant. The next guy wasn't so lucky. My little brother was not as smart as you. Do not get me wrong. My nephew is the coolest little guy in the world. But the custody battle and all the other ensuing bullshit, there's a lot of bullshit he has been going through for well over a year, is exhausting to watch and hear about. So glad it is not me. 4 years ago I was fully committed to drive my car purposefully into a freezing river. I'm now glad I did not do it. Suicide is horrible, but honestly death by freezing or drowning or both is a horrid way to die. Glad you're still here. I heard death by drowning is not that bad, since you go unconscious after a few minutes. I assume the cold water would put your body into shock, making you go unconscious even faster. Drowning, burned alive and suffocation are the worst types of death. Stabbing would be like a miracle compared to those, and hypothermia would be heaven. Ducking Ashley, again. Have not we all? Ashley is a real slut. Almost spending $1,000 sword when I need that money for college. Get your PhD in Finland and you can have both. Yeah, swords are provided for free there. I used to fly small airplanes, departing a mountain airport with no internet access. I didn't have a clear picture of the thunderstorm activity I knew was ahead. The air traffic controller directing my flight suggested a route that would take me through some precipitation, but outside the warned thunderstorm area I was in, since I was blind, and I assumed they could see the intensity of the precipitation on their scope, I nearly followed their directions. At the last minute my onboard weather system painted the precipitation, which I recognized as a severe thunderstorm. Upon querying the controller, he said he could see if precipitation was present, but not the intensity. I had nearly flown straight into a thunderstorm. Thunderstorms can be powerful enough to break up small aircraft, and had I not observed that radar image, I might not be here today. Lessons were learned. I started asking about intensities and for more information when controllers offered alternates. Never made that mistake twice. How long ago was this? We have limited weather information available to us, but the one thing we do get is precipitation intensity. Our readouts are not as good as what is on planes nowadays, but we can distinguish between 6 different levels of precipitation and usually get a good picture of where to avoid. This was 6 or 7 years ago, deep in Appalachia. I recall querying the controller about intensity and being told they didn't have that information about the cell. Any XRAD had it, but maybe that part of the radar was out that day. My failure was not querying my resources sooner and possibly endangering my flight by making assumptions. I assumed though that had the intensity data and was caught off guard when it was not available. Almost got pregnant to my partner of 11 years, fiancé of 3 years. We got together when I was 18 and he was 19. Got my period. Realized I hadn't conceived. He then left me the next day for a 35 years old Instagram model and moved in with her the next day. He'd been cheating on me with her whilst we were trying to conceive. He's now living out of his car and I have a new partner. What in a hole. I bet his regret is insane though. I forgot the condom, so refused to put it in despite her begging. Found out later she had herpes. For your information, you can wear a condom and still get herpes. Also, anyone regardless of gender who begs you for unprotected sex, run away from them. She is absolutely correct. Herpes can be outside the condom area. 2. RRN. A condom does not even cover the entire penis. If there is any skin to skin, there can be transmission. And FWIW. I have seen a patient with sacral herpes. So yes, you can basically get herpes anywhere. Almost sold my virginity on the internet. And I didn't, because some crumb of my mouth innocent self believed that it would be nice to give it to a guy that I chose for myself. Man, imagine if you sold your virginity in like 2011 for 100 Bitcoin. Me and a small group of other Marines. This was about 15 years ago and legitimately could have turned into a life-changing international incident. We are Marines attached to a small detail in Kuwait City during OIF. We were allowed to go out into town to the US Embassy. Kuwait is a dry country, but we can drink at the embassy. I'm only 19 at the time, so I could not drink. Naturally I was the DD. We are in this crappy Kuwaitiness and passenger van bus thing. We are lost trying to get back to base, and I accidentally cut off a local in their car. It is late at night, so the streets are mostly empty. It quickly turns into a full-blown road rage thing, and the locals are mad. They are swerving at our bus, trying to get us to pull over to fight, and we are screaming back at them through the windows. Then, one of the locals brandishes a handgun. Our cars are driving side by side. We are all carrying 2 M9 feet and M16 feet. We have flak and Kevlar. A drunk corporal suggests that we need to escalate force. All the other drunk dickheads on board think that's a good idea too, and they hatch a plan to show them our rifles. If locals escalate, then we would fire on their car. Thank God. When we show them our rifles, pointed rifles at their car, the QITs back off and pull over, we drive on. Looking back, that incident easily could have ruined my life, and it is shocking how close it was. Very scary part of it is, it's almost completely put of your hands. After you accidentally cut him off, they could have shot at them, and you would have taken out of the fall for something out of your control. Very lucky indeed. Totally. I really did feel like it was not my place to step in. I was wrong about that, of course, but it got out of hand fast. I have around 30-60 BTC in a wallet somewhere that I have had since like 2011, when Silk Road was a thing, so I could buy super pure Mal. Totally forgot about it, how to access it after college until like 3 years ago. Still keeps me up at night. Someone had a similar issue and called into Gimlet's reply all for a super tech support. Think they eventually found the folder it should be in, but it was not there. She spent most of it. She got 27 in the end. Was near to marrying a girl that I had no reason to be with. She wasn't a horrible person. She was actually very sweet, just not right for me. Talking back to my mom, I'm still lucky to be alive. Selling all my stuff, giving up my cat, and moving to a different country to live with my emotionally manipulative crazy ex. Thankfully I came to my senses and put the brakes on before I lost everything. Only after therapy did I come to realize how bad she actually was. Did you keep the cat? Gotta ask the important questions first. I did. He was my first priority in the whole deal. Thankfully he would have gone to a good home, but it was something that bothered me tremendously, especially as she was keeping her doggo and her house, and I was expected to give up everything. Going on a vacation with your ex-girlfriend's family, I would almost do it just to duck with my ex. Yeah, I can see some real comedic value in this. I clerked for a county judge. I almost made the judge sign an order and forgot the letter O in county. Worked at a fast food restaurant. They treated me like shit. Hated my manager. She closed one night and I had an extra key in the combination to the safe. Was fed up and decided to give her a taste of her own medicine. After close, I went for a drive and came back when all was dark and quiet. I opened the back door and made my way to the safe. I unlocked it and had my hands on the night's cash count. It was hundreds of dollars in cash in my teenage hands with no evidence of my deed. She would have been tagged with theft and I would have been rid of her with a wad of money to boot. My conscience got the better of me. I put it all back, locked the door and drove my broke butt home. No regrets. There's no way you would have gotten away with this. Even if she didn't know it was you, she would have thrown anyone else under the bus that had access and a combination. Most places have cameras over safes that we intentionally do not tell staff about because of things like this. Some of the restaurants I've worked in use unique combinations that keep a history of access so we can see who's opened it. You made the right move. This was 1990 and I'd been there a few years already. There wasn't a camera or multiple combinations. It was an opportunity to do something stupid and I made a better choice. Regardless of the outcome, I learned a lot about myself that night. To this day, I think about this all the time and wonder how my life would have gone if I went through with it. I was abused in every form of the word by my stepdad, now deceased. One night he was coming home from work on his Harley and hit some gravel. Doing his typical 80 miles per hour. He got totally F up. He was bedridden with multiple casts and pain medication. I stood beside his bed, home alone with him, holding a pillow in my hands. I thought about it. I really thought about it. But I chickened out. Would it have been a grave mistake? Or my salvation? I still wonder. I'm glad you did not do it. I'm horrified by what he put you through. But I still think it is good that you did not descend that far. I think it would have changed your life forever. I'm wondering what has happened since then. Has he passed away? I hope you are doing okay. Great and fantastic now. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.